Hey guys, cool by the way back. I'm Rick.
I'm Maggie.
And we're back with Haikyuu, where we are at a couple of training camps. There are three. There's like the main one that most everyone is at. There's the one that Hinata snuck into at Shiratorizawa. And then there's like the big, fancy, Olympic
level thing that our good boy Kageyama is been invited to.
Indeed. So yeah, that continues.
I can't wait.
I want Hinata to prove that coach wrong. That he deserves to be there.
Washijiro or Washijo?
That sounds about right.
Washijo, yeah. We need to rub it in that guy's face. They need to learn from each other.
Hopefully we see it this time.
So beautiful.
He's watching the players of the game and not just the ball. He's gone from a dog to a person.
Yeah. That's so mean.
But true.
Possibly.
You know it to be true.
Yeah. But he's already the practice for everybody else is better for him being there.
True.
So far.
Yeah. It's got Suki motivated to actually try.
Yeah, Suki actually
put in some extra effort.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a tiny bit. And he's obviously the other people there are like, noticing. They can feel his energy. They can pretty much see like the mist rising off of his skin, all that energy he's using. I'm surprised his brain is like, no wonder his hair is red. It's like acting as a heat sink to try to like cool his brain down as he tries to learn so much.
The coaches see him improving as well. He's gone back and remembered the tennis technique.
Yeah.
It's helping him out.
Well, one coach sees him making incredible progress. The other coach is just like, that shouldn't have happened. You should be perfect.
Nailed right into the balls.
That looked painful. I mean, I know what it's like taking a ball like that size straight to the face from like 5 foot away. But that's to the face. Like when you hit the face hard enough, everything just goes numb, Yeah. Like you'll get a bloody nose or whatever, but it's like, that's just it. Everything's numb. The balls are another thing. I imagine it's way worse.
Yeah, that one lingers for a bit.
Yeah.
Liver is definitely the worst. Definitely. 100%. And then I would probably go kidneys and then testicles. I mean, throat's pretty bad too, but...
Yeah.
That one is a little more urgent.
Yeah. I have a lot of impact damage stories. It's mostly like, run through a cornfield, the corn leaves cutting your neck up, and then you have all those little tiny abrasions, and it's like your neck just hurts. It's horrible. I mean, after the motorcycle accident, like I had high velocity impact nerve damage, but even then, it's like it's numb now.
Yeah.
Like, great, now it just doesn't hurt, even when it should. So,
solar plexuses are scary because like
they mess with your ability to breathe. It feels like you can't bring in air and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know of anybody that hasn't had the air knocked out of them at least once. Right in the breadbasket. I don't know why that even happens. It just doesn't make sense. Like on a intrinsic level of understanding like physics and such. Like, I don't understand that. So, that makes it extra scary in my opinion. Oh, poor Hinata. But he is finally using his brain.
Yeah, this should unlock a big part of his game. Like being able to read the court and not just react to things, but predict and intuit.
Yeah, he's starting to see patterns. And yeah, that's the stuff that everybody else would have grown up with in the game that he would never have been exposed to. And what's really cool is that he's getting to learn all those patterns off of really good players. Like he's not being exposed to that sort of stuff and learning like bad patterns from people because they're new players too. So he's kind of, like what that coach said, he's kind of skipping a lot of the growing pains of that sort of stuff. So that's pretty cool. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, like when you're training or when you're teaching someone, like having to unteach them first and then teach them is rough. So like having someone who's just fresh is nice. Like if you have someone changing like martial arts or combat sports disciplines or something, like they know this footwork or like this punch, and so like they have things like the balance and the breathing that sort of just carries over, but like depending on how much time they've done into it, like they will always fall back into that.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to get them out of it and into the new thing.
Yeah, you don't really have to worry about like that mind and body crossover training with like math or something like that. Because I've helped people a lot with math and like, book learning type stuff. And it's not necessarily a situation of like they know a different way of doing it. And that could be it, possibly. But a lot of times they've learned one way to do it, but it didn't make sense to their brain, quite right. And there's often lots of different methods to get to the same answer. And some of them are better than others depending on what you're going beyond that and so on. But a lot of times you just have to find out what makes sense to their brain and kind of suit learning to that, because some people are very visual. Some people need to know why we're doing it like this, because this seems like making more sense right now, even though it won't make sense later on and such. They don't realize the pitfalls that you're helping them avoid by teaching them a certain way. And sometimes they need to learn that to understand and to agree and to learn it.
Yeah.
So, but it's never really like a retraining sort of thing where it's like, no, you don't block like this, you block like this, or something like that. But people do get in bad habits when it's like they're formatting. Sure. I will say. Having to teach people to format things in a certain way, because they're just like, if you do it like this, you are just asking for trouble later on because you don't like the pertinent information you haven't written down, and you're just like fast forwarding through certain things. And you gotta keep all that stuff on the paper instead of in your brain, because your brain won't hold it. So there's a little bit of that retraining that happens.
In boxing, like there's not a lot of crossover between volleyball and boxing, like when you're actually doing the thing, but you do a lot of the same training things.
Yeah.
Like the plyometrics and things for like box jumps and stuff like that. So like the split step, like you never want both feet to leave the ground in boxing, but when you're doing like plyometrics and like footwork drills and stuff, there's that sort of idea of a split step. You kind of work that in some of the drills.
Yeah, he tends to he's been so focused on getting to the ball wherever it is up there that he hasn't really paid attention to your timings on the ground.
And there's just the idea of like you tie the hands and the feet together, so like the whole body kind of moves in unison, and it just reacts much faster and more precise when you do that. So like even if you're staying in the same spot, if you like move your feet along with your upper body, that can just make you react so much faster.
It makes sense. Like I know, like with brain signals sending signals to further parts of the body and such, it's a tiny bit of a difference, but it's a measurable difference of like signals getting places. And when you're trying to train instincts into a person, basically, it makes sense that if you try to set up the feet and the hands moving at the same time, it's like, well, that means if I send a signal to the hands to start doing this, then the feet will like automatically be like, whoop, okay, gotta move. So that makes sense. I don't know if it actually works that way, but like it makes sense at least.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely works that way in boxing. Like you will punch faster if you are moving your feet and your hands rather than just your hands.
Seems like Hinata needs stuff like kind of spelled out for him sometimes. He doesn't always like make those connections.
I mean, he made it here.
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Like no one's teaching him any of this stuff. He's just putting his full focus into it and like remembering some things from the past and like looking at it from a different perspective.
Yeah, it's
because
really
he has
helpful.
the opportunity to do that. So
it's just also cool because like I imagine he did a lot of watching before too.
Yeah.
So my first question has got to be like, well, what's different about his watching now and then? And I think a big part is like we keep getting those like verbal flashbacks from what the coach said. It's like the coach cluing him in that there are things he can learn here.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if you don't even know that there's a question there to be answered, it's like you're not going to go looking for an answer. It's like it's an unknown unknown.
Yeah.
But now that Hinata knows, like, oh, there's stuff to learn here, and he's got to sort it out, and he's so bullheaded. He can find it. He just needs to know it's there.
Well, that's true with anything. Like the more you learn, the more you see there is to learn. Mm-hmm. So like that's true in any academic pursuit. But like I watched boxing matches before I started boxing, and like I thought I understood kind of what was going on, but then you put the time into it and you learn the techniques and you see it in a whole different fashion.
Oh,
you
yes.
just pick up so much.
Absolutely. There's this guy that in Imager that does these amazing boxing write-ups from historical fights, and it's so in depth, and it really makes you like, oh my gosh, that translation effort where he's taking this fight and describing to like, you know, the peon of doesn't know what's happening. What's happening is amazing. And that's what Hinata's kind of learning right now, I guess, is being able to translate.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if his lessons provide fruit at the end of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Till next time. Thank you guys for watching our reaction to Haikyuu. We can't wait to get to the next one, and if you can't wait, you can check it out right now over at patreon.com/blindwave, where you can see the next 4 reactions to this and all the other shows that we're doing right now that are not live. You can check those out or subscribe and check it out as it comes.